Hello team, I said I was going to get a video done as soon as I could about calorie counting. Sorry it's a bit later than anticipated, been busy. And then again when I've got home tonight, guess what I've been doing? Cleaning the garden because everything's getting manically overgrown because of the warm weather. Anyway, I said I was going to explain about why I think calorie counting doesn't work. Now, a few people have said, well, I don't get this, I'm a bit confused to how I'm meant to work things out. Well, in all honesty, calorie counting does and doesn't work dependent on the person. So it's a case of really figuring out the best solution for you. Now, there's a few factors that you need to take into account. One of them being that the calorie packaging, you know when you buy the calorie packaging, you know when you buy your foods and on the back of the label, if I can find, I might have one here. So you see this bit here with all the ingredients label, it actually gives you a breakdown. Now that actually, and if you may or may not know this, it can be out by 20%. Okay, so that's quite a big difference. If you're tracking every single bit of food each day, then if your food's out by 20%, that's a massive jump, isn't it? That's a huge difference. And then I tell you to take off another 10% off of that, then all of a sudden you're in a 30% deficit, and then you're dropping weight like no man's business. So there is a flaw on that side of things. Not only that, when you cook your food, it alters the caloric intake too. And again, you may or may not be aware of that. And so there's lots of little factors. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, calorie counting can work. And I'm going to give you a scenario in a moment of where it works for some people and where it doesn't. But you need to work out for you which is the best route. Because remember, this is all about you. It's not about me. It's about you. No one else. What worked for one person will not work for another. All right? It all depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what you have going on, how much you have going on in your life. You may not want to be spending time tracking stuff. But I'm just going to run you through a little scenario of the way I do things and why. So, like I say, going back to the whole calorie counting thing, there is some flaws with doing it, like there's flaws with every system. A bit like Weight Watchers, a bit like Slimming World, because they all use like point systems, and it can lead to the wrong ways of doing stuff. It could be giving you false information. Now, the biggest problem is with people wanting to lose weight or lose body fat is the fact that it's a case of calories in versus calories out. We need to be expending more calories than we're taking in, right? So it's about getting the scales right. Now, if that's the case and we can't physically judge, so you're going about your normal life, you're gaining weight and you're wondering why, you're doing all the training that you should be doing, or moving or exercise, football, a sport, you're walking regularly, you're moving a lot, and you feel like you're following the right food guides, and then you're not actually losing weight. Well, the reality is that there's something going wrong with the numbers there. So if you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight no matter what, right? It's as straightforward as that. Now, going back to the different systems involved, there's a few of them. Well, there's multiples of them, in fact. Depends on which avenue you want to go down, but I'm going to purely talk about the calories. There is some flaws with the system. But, and here's the big but. Every single one of my clients, when they start training, when they join us and become a member or a part of Team BTC, we always get them to track their calories for a minimum of 3 to 5 days. Why? For the simple reason is it gives people self-awareness, right? So it makes you aware of what you're eating currently and your current state of nutrition, right? And I ask them not to change a thing for that first week. I specifically say, do not change anything. Just follow it, track it, record it. I'll assess it and give you some feedback on it, right? And the reason being is I need to know a baseline of where you're at, because there is the odd exception to the rule. Now, those exceptions are, I've had females, not once but more than once, come to me and their deficit in their calories, because there's a fine line, their deficit is totally out. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, if their normal caloric intake should be, let's say, 1,400 calories or 1,600 calories, which is usually around the average female amount, then and they're actually realizing they're only eating 1,000 calories a day, and they've been doing this for a long time, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Because the body doesn't like losing fat, right? It's going to slow the metabolic rate down. It's going to slow it down. So that's an exception, right? So we have to find a baseline. So this is where calories benefit us, is we need to find a baseline of where you're at. Then we can set up a system, and then we can get you to implement the system that's right for you. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit of a story. And this story is about me and my experience with calorie counting. And I can tell you some other stories about my clients too. My experience is I was religiously tracking them, and my coach actually told me off because I was putting them into a spreadsheet. I could go back probably 3 or 4 years and I could tell you exactly what macronutrients, your proteins, your carbs and your fats, I was eating every single day, along with my calorie level, which is great because when you look at things, you can see when you can compare and contrast. You know, was I doing a little bit more training here? Was I doing a little bit less? Did that mean that my weight dropped more or less? Because again, there's lots of different avenues that you can go down. And again, I will talk about that maybe in another video. But the reality is, I used to track quite obsessively, and it doesn't always pay dividends because you can become literally obsessed with it, and it's not good. So after I did my photo shoot, because that's I had to really keep a sharp eye on it, and you have to be 99 to 100% on point when you're doing something along those lines, and sort of stepping out of the comfort zone. So basically, I did that up until that point, and then after that I decided now's the time to chop the calorie tracking. So I chopped it. I was fine for a while, and then eventually things started to creep in. I had a holiday, and then I started eating more and more and more and more and more and more, and guess what happens? Scale goes up, weight goes up, body fat goes up, because I wasn't monitoring it. About 6 months down the line, 9 months down the line, I took on a new coach and decided to coach online. This new coach decided that we were going to do some different methods of eating, and he basically gave me a list of foods. Guess what? Didn't work for me. I found that I couldn't control that. He just said, eat as much this as you want, as much as this as you want, keep that limited, keep this limited. Simple as that. Yeah. You know, being an experienced, quite knowledgeable coach, knowing how to get people into shape, guess what? Didn't do it. So that failed for me again. So I went back. I took on a different coach because I weren't happy with where I was going. Went to this new coach, and the new coach has given in different format again. So, and again, it's a format I've learned to teach my clients, and it's a very successful one. It's run by a lot of the nutritional guys, and I'm just going to quickly explain it. Basically, it's based around your palms and your hands with how much food you can eat. So you can gauge it off of that. So you've not got all the stress of weighing it out. You've not got to manually enter it into your MyFitnessPal app, or write it down or take photos. You just literally gauge it all off of these. So the guide is for your palm there, For females, it's 1 palm of protein. For males, it's 2 palms of protein, right? Okay. For your vegetables on your plate, right? This is for males and females. Should be 2 fists full. Okay, because everyone's hand sizes are going to be different. It's a male and female again for carbohydrate portion. So that might be some sweet potato, maybe some rice, pasta, something quinoa, buckwheat, the oats, not oats. Sorry, bad one. Potato. There, there's a long list. I'm not going to do 1 fist. And then for your fat content is 1 thumb. And that is a good, easy, simple follow to run for you for coaching you for your nutrition. Now, with that in mind, right, that is another system. And I can tell you, I tried that system. And this is a system I give to clients. I tried that system. And guess what? Didn't find it worked. Because I just felt I couldn't stick to it. I didn't like the flexibility. I felt it was too flexible and it's easy to misgauge your portions. And I just didn't feel like I was knowing what was going on. And I felt that my overall changes weren't being reflected. So I said to my coach, I've started tracking my food again in MyFitnessPal because I felt more happy doing that. And he was like, that's cool, that's fine. If it works for you, it works for you. Because I was questioning whether that's just me being a bit messed up. And he was like, no, it's fine. He said, that's fine with what we're doing. It's some people like numbers, some people don't. It's as simple as that. So that was another method. So I went back to tracking. And guess what? Lo and behold, guess what happens? Within 4 weeks, I've dropped 2 or 3 kilos. And it's gradually deteriorating down now. So when I say calorie counting doesn't work, it does, but only for some people. And you've got to know whether that's you or not. Now, you have to do some form of tracking, whether that's for your nutrition, whether that's for your training. You need to do some form of tracking, right? Because if you don't, you're never ever going to know what you're doing. And the other flaws with tracking is people often forget. I mean, here's an example. The other day, I was entering my foods for the next following day, and I realised the day before I'd missed off 2 pieces of fruit that I'd had. Simple, but that's 200 calories out. That's 10% of what my technically caloric deficit is, where my calories are, because they're about 2,100 at the minute. If I take that 200 off, that's 10%, which is the normal deficit we will drop down to help someone lose weight until we hit that point. I'll explain more another day. But what I'm trying to get across to you is that calorie counting doesn't always work, not in every circumstance. And anyone that says it does, it doesn't. There's different methods, like I say, that work for some people. And you need to figure out which one works for you. All right? And like I say, food labels, they can be inaccurate, right? Cooking the foods changes the caloric levels, and it's not factored in on these labels. So again, we could be eating too much. All right? Some people use just purely off of hunger. But the problem with that is, if your hunger is low because you've been really suppressed because you've been on low calories for a long time, guess what's going to happen? Right? You're not going to drop any weight. So what I would suggest, and what I'm probably going to tell you all to go and do, is maybe next week, here's a little tester for you. And I'll post up mine. Go download the MyFitnessPal app. Right? Go download the MyFitnessPal app. It's free. Record your food for the first 3 days of next week. And, I'm probably saying this now, and probably maybe 1 or 2 of you might do it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about being consistent, and it's about getting out your comfort zone and being really honest with yourself, to be quite frank, because some people do not want honesty, right? You're right, Donna. Some people do not want to be honest with themselves. They lie to themselves. They tell themselves that they're eating well, but their bodies don't reflect it. I've had conversations with people this week. I had a gentleman come up to me. We had a long discussion, and basically he said, "Oh, I go and do this, this, and this, and it's all cardio-based exercise. I eat really healthy." And then he goes, "But I've got man boobs and I've got a big gut belly." And I was like, "Well, you're doing something wrong then. So, are you really eating healthy?" Probably not. You might be being healthy, but you might be eating too much of the healthy foods. Again, another problem. So what I'm trying to say to you is, go off, get your MyFitnessPal. I know I drifted there. In nutrition, I'm quite passionate about, and as of any of the clients will tell you, if they get me talking about that on a rest break, that's it. Their rest break's been extended. What I'm gonna say to you is, get MyFitnessPal over the weekend. As of Monday morning, you enter every single bit of food into the app, and then you take a photo of of your MyFitnessPal or a screenshot, and you upload it to the Facebook group. And I will do exactly the same, and I'll show you. Right? Now, try it, see how you get on with it. Some people find it really fascinating. Some people find it useful. Some people find it a ball ache. Like I say, it depends on you. If that method doesn't work, try the hand method that I mentioned earlier. If that doesn't work, you can maybe look at using macronutrients and doing it that way, or you go off appetite on how you feel, or maybe you even want to go and try Weight Watchers or Slimming World. Now, I don't agree with their methods, but if it works for you and it gets you the result you want, then it's fine. All right. I'm fed up of the health and fitness, the fitness industry just bitching behind each other's backs all the while. "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." It does my head in. I want to, right? I'm fed up of hearing it. If you enjoy bike riding, if you enjoy climbing, if you enjoy swimming, go do them. If you enjoy a beer down the pub, go and have one. Just don't overdo it, right? It's about balance. We have to keep the balance in life. We all have different things going on at different times. Sometimes will be more stressful than others. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes you'll be able to do 5 training sessions in the gym a week. Sometimes you won't. But you just alter your caloric levels to suit, depending on what your goals are. And again, if you want to gain muscle, then you need to know your calories. So then you've got to have a surplus of calories, an excess. But again, a lot of people make a mistake. They have way too much. Right? They raise that level way too high. And that's why they call it the bulking season. And all they do is balloon out like this and go, "Woo!" Sorry for the faces, but what I'm trying to get across is, at the end of the day, it's a very fine line. And it's just often the small increments that you get that will make a difference. What I'm going to also do for you, because I let you all down yesterday, something got in the way and I totally forgot about the general election too, so I didn't run this live feed tonight, and I know people will probably be watching this back tomorrow. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to send you a screenshot of something I give my clients, and I'll show you the guide, the PDF guide, because I know I've ran sort of through it and you're probably like, what's he on about with the hand gestures? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a screenshot of the PDF measurements of images with the food, so you can try that method too. You'll see what I mean when I post them up. But at the end of the day, use whatever method works for you. Calorie counting can work, but it has its flaws. Hand and palm measurements and fist measurements, should I say, work, but they have their flaws. Eating a certain range of foods or off a foods list, again, has its flaws. Having meal plans has its flaws. There's lots of issues. So I would just say, try a few of them and see how you get on. But maybe next week we could maybe look at doing a few days with you all just tracking and uploading photos. I'll do the same just so you can see. And I'll give you some feedback. If you take part, I'll give you some feedback. I'm all for giving something in return for you taking part and taking your time to do it. And I'm more than happy to help you out. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you all. And I want to say, if I don't get time to put anything in the group. Have a fantastic weekend. Go off and enjoy some sunshine if there's plenty around. Go for a walk. Go to the gym. Eat some nice food that's going to make you healthy. Right? If you get healthier, your body composition is going to improve. And just do some exercise of some description. Right? Eat, move, sleep, repeat. All right? Over and out, people. Take care. Have a great evening. And I'll see you all soon.